Welcome back to another episode of QTV. I'm Michael James.
I'm Kate Mackey.
And I'm Davina Jones.
Now, Davina joins us again this week as a guest host while Matthew is still away, enjoying Europe and presently Egypt, where we know he's safe and sound locked up in his hotel room. Davina, as you know, is with Dykes on Mics, and she joined us with Ruth Gardner in episode 9. Thank you very much for joining us again, Davina.
I couldn't stay away.
Very happy to have you back.
It's a bit of a ladies' night on the couch tonight.
It is. There's ladies everywhere. I'm the only boy in the house. Now, we have these fabulous ladies here, Tammy and Suzanne,
yes,
who join us from Rainbow Families, and they're going to tell us all about what Rainbow Families is later on tonight when we do our interview. So thank you very much for joining us, ladies.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Yep, me too. Thanks.
Now, we're going to get straight into the news tonight to begin with. We had a very busy week where some of the QTV crew were at GLBN last week, where we got to interview, an exclusive interview, mind you, with Magda Sabansky. We'll catch up with that in segment 3. But first, great news from the US. Last week, in a 5-4 decision, the US court struck down the Defence of Marriage Act, otherwise known as DOMA, which denied an estimated 1,138 federal benefits to married gay and lesbian couples.
Now, there's a fantastic cover of the New Yorker magazine about to come out soon in celebration of this, featuring Bert and Ernie of Sesame Street fame on the front cover. So not everyone's happy though. Of course, religious organisations are up in arms that a pair of men featured for decades together on a children's television program are being depicted as homosexuals on the front of this cover.
I'm just glad that they've finally come out after years and years and years of doing the pigeon together. That's all I'm saying.
YouTube that one if you don't know.
Definitely.
Now, with some news from Australia, last week the Tasmanian Upper House passed the law to allow same-sex couples in Tasmania to adopt children. Under the new law, couples who have a registered relationship under the Relationships Act can adopt children not known to them.
Now, Tony Abbott has welcomed the news. However, he said he cannot quite understand why anybody would want to adopt a same-sex couple.
Oh dear. It's all about love.
It is.
It's all about love.
It is, but some great news. I mean, Tasmania was the last state to decriminalise homosexuality in 1997. And they're making every effort they can to...
It says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That, you know, that for a small sort of state that for so long sort of lagged behind the rest of the country, all of a sudden seems to be overtaking, moving forward, and has... You know, the attitudes around have changed so much.
I feel like it's almost like they were embarrassed by it, you know, that it took them so long to get to that place that now they're trying to make up for it, which is really great, leading the country.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
And, I mean, we're going to find out more from you guys too about adoption and those things tonight as well, so it's interesting to compare.
Indeed. So Kevin Rudd, who has returned as the Prime Minister, has declared that he was determined to deliver change to Australia's marriage law. He said, "I think I am now the first Prime Minister in Australia who is fully signed up supporter of marriage equality." Great quote.
Now, marriage equality advocates nationwide have celebrated the news, thrilled with the knowledge that Kevin Rudd would never go back on his word on anything.
Like any Prime Minister or politician
Yes.
would. As we were talking about earlier on, I'd just be happy if he was the first Prime Minister to actually do something about marriage equality. That would be when I started celebrating, is when action actually starts happening.
Absolutely. Recall Parliament, make it happen, put the legislation in place, legalise marriage equality, then go to election. Then see how well you're going to get some votes, because then we actually know it's going to go ahead. But
And not a referendum either. I've got real concerns about this idea of holding a referendum simply for me, because you're asking the rights of a minority of group to be voted on by the majority of people, and why should rights be voted upon? Why aren't they given? Why isn't equality something just across the board?
yeah, absolutely. A referendum would just be terrible.
And long. It would take forever.
Yeah.
As well, if you're talking about actually change and people are hungry for change, now's the time to do it, and now's the time to lead. Is going to a referendum actually going to be leading, or is it stepping back and saying I'm allowing someone else to make the decision, even though I support it?
Yeah. And the argument has been that it's going to allow this campaign of, hey, like the churches and the ACL are going to get up and they're going to fund this campaign to really scare people. And they've already been doing it with these letterbox drops about how, you know, we're going to ruin the world and, you know, we're going to ruin all of these children as well. You know.
Yeah, and unfortunately they do out-finance us. You know, they have more cash than us, and they tend to get into all the TV programs and interviewed all the time. And
well, they meet every Sunday.
that's true.
They all collect money every Sunday and pass the bucket round. Of course they're better financed.
I have heard so many of the churches refer to the gay lobby. Where is it? Where is this gay lobby? Please, I will go and join it and I will campaign with them. And they can fund it.
You know what? It's the Wickham on a Saturday night. We need to pass around the bucket at the Wickham on a Saturday night.
That's our gay lobby.
Yes.
It's going to be scary. Now,
Oh,
I was just going to say, now this last article is going to lead us into a conversation that we're going to have with Suzanne and Tammy in our next segment. It's about a pair of flamingos, gay flamingos, that became foster parents after taking an abandoned chick under their wings. Now, Carlos and Fernando,
of course.
raised in a zoo in Gloucester, were reportedly desperate to raise their own young and had resorted to stealing other eggs. However, when a nest was abandoned, they were given their own chick to raise. Local religious advocates against same-sex marriage had raised their concerns after the birds were spotted teaching the young how to dress well, cook gourmet foods, and apply the appropriate amount of product to their hair.
Excellent.
Now, that's
soft draw by colour.
It ties in quite nicely because when we come back from the break, we're going to be chatting to Suzanne and Tammy about Rainbow Families, which is all about diverse groups of families that exist within Brisbane and the support that's being offered to them and what these guys are doing to help orchestrate that. So we'll be back very shortly. In the meantime, remember we are live tweeting during this episode, so you can shoot us a tweet at QTV Brisbane, jump on the Facebook page, which is QTV Brisbane, and send us any messages either about what we're talking about right now or anything you'd like to see on the show in the future. You can also shoot us an email at qtv@31.com.au. Now we'll be right back after this very short break with more QTV. Welcome back to QTV. Now it's time to have a chat with our special guests for the evening, Tammy and Suzanne. And they're going to tell us all about Rainbow Families. What is it? What happened? How did it begin? What does it do? That's all of life's important questions for us, Tammy.
All the most important questions. Rainbow Families Queensland is a community organisation, and we hope to represent families that have parents that are lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, intersex, queer, any of the above, all of the above. We're really inclusive, and we're just run by a volunteer board, and we're doing all sorts of activities actually, from organising meetups to campaigning with politicians to developing educational resources. We've got a really great website. We're doing a lot of stuff. But the idea basically originally was to connect up with other parents like us and to make sure our kids felt like they weren't the only kids with parents like us.
Yeah. How long has it been going for, Susan?
About 2 years, I think now. Yeah, I've been maybe a little bit longer. Yeah. I've been involved for about 18 months, I think. And yeah, I got involved when my partner fell pregnant, when we sort of conceived a baby. And so it really hit home how important it was to make sure that our daughter definitely knew other kids who were in the same situation. But also at the time, you know, we were waiting for civil unions to come in. You know, we just basically felt like I needed to do as much as possible to make sure that our daughter was raised in an environment, in a state, in a country where she was welcomed and supported. So as Tammy said, a lot of what we do is writing to politicians, making ourselves available for media requests and media interviews to make sure that our families have a voice.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've seen some of the events as well. I've taken my son along to some of them. You did an event at the Art Gallery, the Edge at South Bank last year.
Yeah, so last year we had a couple of events during the Pride Festival. We know there's lots of nightclub and evening events and lots of cool stuff, but there's also, we want to have events for people with little people as well. So we had a story time reading at the Brisbane Square Library last year and an art exhibition at the Edge. We're doing some similar things this year. We're trying to get more library readings, and they're not just for queer families, that's for any family. But what we'll be doing is focusing on reading books about different kinds of families. It's just about inclusiveness and diversity.
The library actually said last year it was the best turnout to one of those readings that they'd had. Was
awesome.
the Rainbow Families
Yeah,
reading. So it was really great news.
It's pretty exciting.
So, Tammy and Suzanne, how can people get involved with Rainbow Families if they are a parent, or also just with your events as well? How could they get involved with what you do?
Well, they can contact us either through the website or through our Facebook page. We are Queensland-wide. A lot of what we do is Brisbane-based because we're on the board, we're all based in Brisbane, but we've connected with some mums and some dads who live in sort of North Queensland, in Toowoomba. They just let us know what they have on. We sent up some resources up to Mount Isa a little while ago for a stall that they were having up there. So we will definitely help out in any way that we can, but we also encourage other people just to hold events in their local area. We can promote them through the Facebook page, through the website, through our email database. We haven't done a lot of that, but we're more than happy to. But just willing to hear ideas from people. Anything anyone wants to bring to the table, we'd be happy to support.
And what about for people that might not have children of their own yet, but are, do identify as LGBTIQ? Can they get in touch with you guys just to talk about things like parenting if they are thinking of embarking upon that journey? Yeah,
definitely. One of the things when we built the website, the tiny little bit of money that we got, we used to build a website. It has heaps of information on it for parents or prospective parents. Even if you're just thinking about what your options are. There's also quite a lot about trans families in that, trans parents, and so there's lots of information there, but also the people on the board are really open to just talking to people. I'm happy to talk to people. My partner's trans, my ex-partner's trans. So my family has had to deal with a lot of coming out issues and advocacy at school and all sorts of stuff like that. And if people are feeling really intimidated by that, there's people who've gone through that. There's lesbian mums, there's gay dads. Michael hangs around with us sometimes.
Because I guess if you're thinking about, I maybe want to go down this path, it's sometimes like, okay, well, I might not know anyone else of my circle of friends that has, had to think, how are we going to go about having kids, all that kind of thing. So it would be, it's great that people can get some advice if they're just starting that journey as well.
And there are so many ways to go about having a family, and I think what we try and highlight on the website is sort of the legal ramifications of all the different processes, so that people can be fully aware of what they're going into.
I was going to say, what are some of the challenges that Rainbow families are facing? That you guys would see an awful lot of those. For me, I would think, and I'm not a parent, so I couldn't say, but I would think that bullying for young people would be a really big issue. What do you see coming through as things that people need to talk about and connect about and search for solutions, and what is it that you see?
I think one of the biggest things is isolation, is parents feeling like there's no other families like theirs. So we actually sort of just act as a way to publicise a lot of other groups. So there's Rainbow Kids Brisbane who are affiliated with us, but there's other groups that where they have meet up and play groups and that sort of thing. So that's really important, so not having that social isolation. The other really big thing is for things like schools. I'm a trained teacher, so this is one of my things, is making sure that there's inclusive education practice where your kids are going to school. And there are some resources out there already that we have links to on a website, but eventually we'd like to develop some more and do some professional development in Queensland, but we need some money to do that.
Sounds great.
Yeah, absolutely right. I came in touch with you guys a while ago, and it was great for us, having become parents, to finding somebody that was able to help educate us and make us feel included. So it's great and
awesome,
excellent.
Couldn't speak more highly of it.
I think, girls, we need to move into the quick six before we wrap it up.
Indeed.
It's a bit scary.
I might kick it off. Oh no, you kick it off, Michael.
I will fire it away. So 6 very quick questions. Give us your first answer. No umming and ahhing or thinking about your answers. First thing that comes to your head. Okay. What was your nickname in high school?
Tim Tam.
Sue.
What was the last time you stayed up until dawn?
I don't. I get up before dawn and go ride my bike. It's very daggy.
Probably the night I met my wife.
Oh.
I've been in bed at 8 o'clock every night.
Okay, Rain or snow?
Snow.
Snow.
And favourite pizza topping?
Meat lovers.
Chicken and brie cheese.
Oh, yum.
Yeah, that's good. Would you rather live in a castle or a spaceship?
Spaceship.
Castle.
Good.
Beautiful.
What's the naughtiest thing that you've done as a parent that you wouldn't let your kids do?
No, I actually can't think of anything.
Whatever.
Nice.
I have a really, really bad habit of eating Doritos at breakfast time, so...
Good stuff.
Oh, that
Love
was
it.
so fantastic.
Thank you so much. It was so great to hear about everything that you guys do. And we'll have the website will be up where you can go and find it on our Facebook page. It is
rainbowfamiliesqld.org.
Beautiful. Now we'll be back with you guys and to have a little bit of a chit chat and wrap up for segment 3 after this very short break. Welcome back to QTV for our final segment for the night. Now, it was a very, very exciting week last week. I touched on it in our first segment, but we got to meet gay royalty.
We did. So you may have seen the photo on our Facebook page, but we were at the GLBN event.
The financial year
last
cocktail
Friday
party.
night. And the planets aligned and we met many fabulous people, and one was, of course, Magda Szubanski, which we mentioned earlier.
Oh, look at you getting how to pronounce her surname right, just because she corrected us.
She did correct us a few times. So it was fantastic.
It was a really, really good interview. It was great. And it was an exclusive interview, mind you. No one else got to interview her while she was in town, so it was just us. But we are going to have that interview next week, so you will have to stay tuned for episode 15 to catch it. We also got to interview Luke Kennedy from The Voice, and Jake and Elle from My Kitchen Rules as well, and lots of other fabulous people. There was politicians were everywhere there again. They're everywhere lately. Anywhere where the gays are partying, they're turning up.
They want to be friends.
I was going to say, maybe there's an election coming up.
Exactly.
Maybe. But yeah, all there. So it was great.
It's a pretty fantastic night, so it'll be, can't wait to share the footage with everyone there. And girls, what have you guys got coming up this weekend or in the future for Rainbow Families?
We have playgroups once a month. I can't remember when the next one's scheduled actually, but you can have a look at our website and the Facebook page. We publicise them there, so it's really good to get the kids along, meet other families like ours. We're planning more library readings during Pride Festival, so just have a look at the Pride Guide for that. And
we're also looking at doing a big old gay family get-together. So maybe a picnic in the park. We haven't sort of firmed up the details, but we'll do some sort of big shebang.
Oh, perfect. And we put the links to that on the QTV Facebook and Twitter page as well. Davina, what's up for you? You got the show?
We've got the show coming up again this week, Wednesday from 7 till 9 p.m. on 102.1 FM, Triple Z. You can stream it through the website as well at 4zzzfm.org.au. And after this, I'm about to head to the Joint because there's a couple of really great musicians, local musicians, Cece the Cat and Felicity Lawless. You might remember them from Birth Control, queer band from a few years ago now, who are playing there to launch their brand new solo albums. They're fabulous musos, so I'm going to head down there.
Yes, and that actually leads in because one of the ex-Birth Control girls is in one of the groups that I'm in, Betty and the Betties. So if you like to see four ladies in uniform singing in harmony, we're going to be at the Tenerife Festival tomorrow, Saturday, from 11 a.m, I think. And you guys are getting your uniforms on as well,
I was going to say, look at you guys with all of your music. Come to the football.
Come on.
The Brisbane Hustlers will be playing tomorrow. It's another home game. It's at the East Rugby Club at Cooperoo. It's going to be very exciting. We played last week and we lost, but we lost to the team that's top of the ladder that is undefeated this season. So that was okay. And we still scored 3 tries. So
Yay! I even know what that is.
So it's lots of fun. So do come along and support us. It is great to come and actually watch the games. It's more exciting than you would think. We have drinks at the end, and most of the team normally ends up at the beach.
And
you
is
can come and meet them there.
Mr. Pride this weekend, first heat as well?
Mr. Pride, as right now, you can see me in 2 places at once. I'm here and I'm at Mr. Pride because I will actually be hosting the first and second heats of Mr. Pride. The second heat is coming up on, I think it's Friday the 13th. Don't quote me on that. Check the website at Brisbane Pride Festival.
And for the girls, that weekend for Ms. Pride
Ms.
as well.
Pride. I was going to say
that weekend.
Scarlett, I think it is. Yeah, the Ms. Pride having the first heat.
Absolutely. And do jump on to the website at brisbanepridefestival.com and register for Mr. or Ms. Pride. Remember, it's not a beauty contest, so you don't have to worry about how thin you are, how pretty you are. It's about personality and it's about getting out there and representing the community. So do give it a shot. That's all we've got time for tonight, though. So I wanted to thank our very special guests, Ms. Tammy and Ms. Suzanne, for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, ladies, for being
wonderful.
It was an absolute pleasure. And Davina, thank you very much for helping co-host us in Matt's absence.
Anytime. Thank you for having me.
Hopefully have you back again.
Yeah.
And speaking of Matt, tucked away in his hotel room in Egypt at the moment, he has presented for us a little bit of his travel diaries while he's away. So as we wrap up the show, we'll be checking that out. So I hope you enjoy it. We'll see you next week. I'm Michael James.
I'm Kate Mackey.
And I'm Davina Jones.
Have a great night.
What encouraged you? When did you first know that you wanted to be a performer?
Oh, dear. I became first an actress when I was 20, and then accidentally I started singing in a bar in Paris, and I preferred it.
Yeah.
So it's been 25 years.
25 years.
Only.
So tell me, what advice would you give young performers?
Work hard.
Work hard.
Be strong. It doesn't matter. I think, there are good talents coming out of The Voice and all these things like that. The length of their career sometimes is compromised. Poor things, because they're just like a product. In our case, and I resented it for a long time because I wanted to, be on the front, and doing theatre is just fantastic. So if you just put it in the back of your mind and you just throw it to the universe, and you discipline and you work and you play as well a little bit, and you just always keep faith, I don't see why. It's absolutely possible.
Which is your favourite?
Faut pas qu'il se figure. It's the story, which is not a very well-known song, and it's this woman waiting for her lover, and he's not coming, and she just listens to the lift coming, first floor, second floor, third floor, and it's excruciating. It's just crazy because you can actually imagine her, and she waits. She starts at 8 o'clock, and she waits until 3 o'clock in the morning. And just to actually know that he has another lover anyway. So it's typical Piaf. Typical Piaf. And that was written by one of her lovers who had a lot of affairs. And he was having more affairs than she was. And she was renowned for being unfaithful. So it's just like, if you know all the story, it's like, oh, I love it. It's just dramatic.
What is it that you love about Paris?
Paris is crazy. Paris is buzzy because it's so small. There's a lot of people. There's something happening at every corner. And also it's beautiful. I've lived in London. It's buzzy, it's crazy. There's It's much more crazy, but it's not as beautiful as Paris.
Yeah.
Paris is just I know it's can be a little bit of a museum, but on the other hand, it's just beauty.
What is your favourite thing to eat in Paris? If you went into a restaurant, what is your trademark Parisian dish you can't get the same anywhere else?
I'm very keen on oysters.
Yes, yeah.
And I've eaten oysters in Australia, and I
Yes.
like oysters in Australia, but the French are better.
Yeah. Okay.
Oysters and champagne.
Very, very, very French.
Yeah.
So where in Australia have you travelled? Where have you performed as well?
We've toured pretty much the entire place. Brisbane, Melbourne many times, Sydney many times, Canberra, Gold Coast, Perth, Mandurah, little villages, places in the country.
Yeah.
I've just done, I think, 5 tours in the last 5 years.
It was absolutely fantastic to have you, and thank you so much for allowing me to have an interview. And I can't say how much I enjoyed the show, so thank you very much, Caroline, and good night.
Thanks, Matthew. Good night.
Thank you.
Merci.
Absolutely, absolutely.